Boss of Blades.
Hello, so this is the deck that I managed to hit Mythic with for the month of July, and I kind of just came up with the idea. Some other people have tried doing stuff with it, but this list is entirely my own and is honestly really cool. It is actually an aggro mid-range combo deck. So our land is, of course, our favorite land, Moorland Haunt. Starting turn 6, we have a chance at a 1/1 copy that costs 1 instead of getting the mana gem. You'll notice that every creature in this deck essentially either has a debut or something that we want off of Moorland Haunt. For our 1-drops, we have the Chandler of Might, so it's a 3/3 for 1 a lot of the time. And if we Moorland Haunt it, it'll be a 2/2 flyer, which is, of course, really nice. For its Paradise, of course, gives you a mana that's fragile, it flies. It's actually part of the win condition some of the times using Catti-Brie. We're actually running skill cards, which I am usually very averse to running skill cards. However, in this deck, we actually want the Wolf because it heals us and it gives us a guaranteed 2-drop, and I wasn't really a big fan of most of the other 2-drop options. The other spell is the second card, Rampant Growth, to gain a mana gem and give a creature +1/+1. Unfortunately, with Omnath, you actually gain the gem and then the plus, so you don't actually get to give Omnath 8th power if you just had the Barkhide. Brontosaurus is actually the part we will almost never play. It's really good against aggro, but playing it off Moorland Haunt, it's a 1/1 Trampler with Ward, which is fine. But if you take any form of damage, its ability will trigger and it will just die. So we have the Scion of Ashaya is the other 1-drop. We actually will play him for 1 mana sometimes as a 2/2 trample ward against like aggro matchups, but a lot of the time we just want to drop a really, really big Scion and then use Catti-Brie and make everything really big. And of course, off Moorland Haunt, he's ridiculous. You just have infinite Scions at some point, and you just play a flying Scion, which just goes over everything. Then we have the Tarmogoyfs. Tarmogoyf is actually part of the reason we are running Circle of the Druid, because it guarantees us a creature draw and it guarantees us a spell draw. So most of the time you're dropping Tarmogoyfs at minimum as a 4/5, and if you pull it back with Moorland Haunt, it's usually a 5/5. And we are running artifacts, creatures, and spells, so we can drop him as a 6/6, 7/7 off Moorland Haunt. There is no traps in the main deck or in the deck whatsoever. And if we do make a side deck and decide to play this in tournament, we may actually be able to make him even bigger. But he is actually the only 2-drop creature. We have 2 Rampant Growths. Staple gives us mana, 2, simple. We are running 1 Grudge Match. Give a creature +1/+1, choose an enemy and fight it. It is the actual, only single target removal we have in the entirety of the deck. Then we are running the Joraga Druids, our one main draw engine for the deck. Card's broken. It's a 3/4 for 3. Every time you get a gem that's not your land, you draw a card, which is insane because we have a large amount of things that give us mana gems to try and go over the top of our opponents. The main artifact we have is the Sylvan Shrine. Activate to get an anti-mana gem, and we get to do it twice. So a lot of the time we'll actually leave a charge on it if we need to, so that way we can combo it with Omnath. Then, of course, we have one of the big non-colored green spells, Slateclaw. He is a 2/2 for 4 with debut. He gets +X/+X for X the power of the strongest friendly creature. So off Moorland Haunt, he is a flyer that is bigger than our biggest creature by 1. So if we were to go Scion of Ashaya, make him a 10/10, then we Slateclaw, it's a 12/12, and if it was off Moorland Haunt, it's a 13/13. Sorry, it's an 11/11 with flying, which is insane for 1 mana, of course. Our other colored spell we have here is Kothophed. We will usually actually use all of the options available with Kothophed. For instance, we can draw cards off of it, which is a great option. And 1 mana, get a 1/1, draw 2 cards off Moorland Haunt. It's really cool. We could also take 4 and give him +6/+6 off Moorland Haunt. It's a 7/7 flyer for 1 mana. That's still a fair deal. And then, of course, gaining the 3 mana is, of course, really, really good. One of the things you could do is once you hit 7th mana, you can go Kothophed, get back to 3 mana, then you can Slateclaw, and the Slateclaw will be a minimum of an 8/8 because you have Kothophed, which is a very high tempo play that you could do as early as like turn 5. Then you have Primeval Titan, 7/7 for 6, debut and attack. He gives you a mana gem. It's insane to get off Moorland Haunt because you'll gain at least 1 mana for 1 cost, which is part of the reason the combo is able to work, is you're able to pull back things that give you mana to be able to have essentially infinite potential buffs to Omnath. Who, of course, we have the Omnath, 3/7 for 6. He has Ward. Whenever you get a mana gem, you double his power. So, doubling his power, obviously you can get really big really fast. So go from 3 to 6 to 12 to 24 to 48. Anything above that is just overkill, unless, I guess, your opponent has an insane amount of life. And the main way we win off that is with Horncharge Lantern. There's a lot of different options we were going after. For instance, Silent Strike was an answer we were using. But in terms of just running things that were in colors, so we didn't have to use a colored slot, the choice came down to, do we want to use Horncharge Lantern, Step Over, or the Hippo? The Hippo costs 5, and he adds another trigger to Moorland Haunt that isn't particularly great, but he does give full board trample. The Lantern gives creature trample twice, because it's an artifact. It adds an extra artifact for our deck for Tarmogoyf, and we can just be like, hey, that's Slateclaw. That's like a really big Slateclaw. He has trample now, and he's just going to attack with big boy trample. So we've actually used it to just give creatures trample that are already big. And we even used it on like Kothophed to make him a big flying trampler to trample over our opponent's flyers. So the Horncharge Lantern was arguably the best option we had available here. And then, of course, we have our standard 2 Craterhoof Behemoth, gives all of our creatures, except for him, and in our hand, +2/+2, and has haste. He's ridiculous to get off Moorland Haunt, honestly, and easily he's the 2 of. We were running 1 Primal Summoning. We were actually going 2 Grudge Matches, 0 Primal Summonings, but I found out I like having the option to draw more cards, and sometimes you just need the refill. Drawing 4 cards, making a creature cost 0 is really good, and even if you just hit like an Omnath or something even small, it's draw 4 cards, and you have the mana to potentially to do it. It gives you another thing to ramp into. You, of course, have Crush of Wurms. There is only 1 copy here. He's kind of win more. You don't actually drop him a lot, but against a lot of the like red decks, like Nahiri and Chandra, dropping early Crush of Wurms will just win you the game, to be fair. And, of course, if you get him off Moorland Haunt, you'll get 3 1/1 flyers, and then you get to use the marquee card of the deck, Catti-Brie. 4/4 for 6, sets the power of all friendly creatures set out of the strongest friendly creature, and she is actually ridiculous, and a lot of the reason why the deck works, and why we named the deck Catty's Claws. So, if we drop a Primeval Titan, which we often do, he's a 7/7 for 6, awesome. If we had like a Birds early on from turn 1 or something, well, now we play Catti-Brie, and suddenly, those birds have 7 powers. One thing we've done was drop a Kothophed, and then we dropped a wolf that we got off Moorland Haunt, and we used Catti-Brie, and now they suddenly have 12 power because we went for the +6/+6, and then they are just massive. The last card that we have in the deck is Lava Wave. Lava Wave was basically the last option that we had for the deck that we decided was actually worth running for the colored slots, because it actually can open our opponent's field to just swing in and win the game, and it can essentially be Horncharge Lantern number 2 and 3. A lot of the time, we can also just ramp early, opponents trying to aggress us, and just Lava Wave their board away. It does not answer Death Shadow, which is annoying, but a lot of the time we can actually get a bigger creature out than a Death Shadow because of the Slateclaw. And we could also just trade up with the Catti-Brie. A lot of the time, we may actually go for a Craterhoof play and actually drop the Brontosaurus, but once again, Brontosaurus is usually not one being played. It is the first 2 parts of Circle the Druid that we do want, one of them being the guaranteed spell that we can combo with Omnath. And that's going to do it for this video. We'll be working on the gameplay video for Catty's Claws momentarily, and we'll likely be able to have that ready for tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and give the deck a try, and let me know in the comments how it worked out for you.
I was fooling me, so I put my mask on. Keep the two of me, gotta keep the 9 high. Flexing Louis V, yeah, keep my cash on. Sticking true to me, I never had a gas off. I'ma pop off, yeah, I said I'll pop off.